Just this past Tuesday, I asked several students who had gathered for Mass that if it is true that we are created in the image and likeness of God, then it is true that I am created in the image and likeness of God. What therefore can I say of myself if that is true? What can I let that say about me? And we scribbled down some of their brief answers. Some of them said, therefore, I am love. I am lovable despite all my weaknesses and can love unconditionally. I am good because God is good. I am mystery because God is mystery. Knowable but inexhaustible. I am beautiful as God is beautiful. I am a great power in this world, but I don't have to control. I am forgiveness because that's what God does. I am holy. I am compassionate. I am free. I am. This is the true self. The true self. This is what is most real in us. This is what the poet-priest Gerard Manley Hopkins called the immortal diamond. The immortal diamond that is at the very core of who we really are. And in the ongoing and altogether human quest to discover who we are, who we really are, we need to look to God. For it is in the image of God that we, you and I, were created. And we carry that image within us. From the moment God thought us up to our last breath and into eternity. You and I will see our true self, discover anew that immortal diamond in God's eyes first and last and always. The gospel this morning describes the temptations of Christ in the desert. Looking at those temptations, do you get a sense of what temptation really is? Most of us likely think of temptation as a sense of being pulled towards something, something bad. But as you can see in this gospel story, temptation is not so much about being pulled towards something as it is to be pulled away from something, away from who I really am, away from my true self, away from that immortal diamond, so that it becomes lost to me. Jesus was being tempted to become anything other than who he really was and become something he wasn't. He was being pulled away from his true self, from who he was in the image and in the likeness of God. When he was asked to turn stones into bread, he was being tempted to move from a deeper life to a superficial life, a shallow life of his own comfort, instead of the depth of relationship and the mystery that is God. When the devil said to him, "Bow down before me and I will give you all this power and glory," Jesus was tempted to forget that his life, like the God in whose image and likeness he was was for others' sake, and all for others, and was not about him. And when the devil said to him, "Throw yourself down and angels will protect you," Jesus was being tempted to the wrong kind of power. For God is not one who would manipulate or control or coerce ever. So that's not who Jesus was. He came to see. Temptation for Jesus was being pulled away from who he was at his core. And we are no exception to that temptation. You and I are always being tempted away from who we really are, to let that diamond, that immortal diamond, get buried inside of us, to live out of a false self, to doubt that we could really be like that, like God, that we could really be in that image. And so we chase after all these false lights because we've turned away, we've forgotten, we've missed the true light. And we do forget. We forget. To resist that temptation, Jesus had to remember who he was. And it was the scriptures that reminded him. He went here to remember who he was in his Father's eyes, so that he could resist those temptations. But they would keep coming. As the scriptures reminded us so clearly, the devil left, but just for a time. And those temptations keep coming to us as well. Someone once said, "Opportunity only knocks once. Temptation leans on the doorbell." This urge to pull away is unrelenting. Unrelenting. There is something in this universe, there's something inside of me that keeps pulling me away from my true self. I know that. I know that when somebody treats me like a jerk, my immediate knee-jerk response is to want to be a jerk back. But that is to forget that at my core, I'm not like that. I'm really not. My deepest and truest self, made in the image and likeness of God, is to be good, because I am good in the image and likeness of God. Maybe that's why some of the disciplines of Lent matter. We need to act ourselves into a new way of being in this world. For example, when we are generous with the poor, we remember in that very act of being generous, oh yeah, that's who I am. I am a generous person. And being generous is not something I have to force myself to do. It's the most natural thing in the world, because that's who I am. And in that moment, I rediscover that immortal diamond. The immortal diamond that was there all the time. Enough. Enough, the poet-priest writes. Enough. The resurrection, a heart's clarion, away grief's gasping, joyless days, dejection, across my foundering deck shone a beacon, an eternal beam, flash, fade, and mortal trash, fall to the residuary worm, world's wildflower, leave but ash, in a flash, at a trumpet crash, I am all at once what Christ is, since he was what I am. I am all at once what Christ is, since he was what I am. And this jack joke, poor, potsherd, patch, matchwood, immortal diamond is immortal diamond. My friends, it doesn't get better than that. That to be true to my true self, whether I'm alone or with others, as often as I can for the rest of my life, wow. What a way to live this life. What a way to live the gift and the creation I am. What a way for you to live the gift and the creation you are. You know, we started Lent most all the time with the words, remember that you are dust, and to dust you will return. Perhaps we should end Lent with the words, remember that you are love, and unto love you will return.